It's Christmas!
It is Christmas.
Hello everybody, welcome back to this very special version of Podcast Assemble. It's our Christmas special.
Very special. More special than when we are always special.
Yeah, well, we are always special.
Yes.
It's the show where we talk about all of our geeky interests. We talk about movies, TV shows, comic books, and video games.
And they're...
And what?
I'm sorry, nothing. Go ahead.
That's
Who
all
are
right.
you?
Who
I
am
am
I?
Groot.
Who am I?
I am Groot. I just went full Groot.
I don't think we've ever got through one of these in its entirety without me fucking up in some way.
Well, I just fucked up there anyway.
It's all right.
So what are we talking about? Our geeky comic book loves.
Well, I'm Tommy.
Yes.
And I'm delighted as always to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's the one and only DRY.
DREY.
We're sticking with dry.
Yeah, super dry.
Yeah, super dry.
Super dry.
Mate, Merry Christmas. This is our Christmas special.
Yeah, it's going to be
you?
awesome, man. I mean, I'm great, just planning Christmas. I actually haven't been home for Christmas ever. So it's just weird.
Ever?
It's just weird. Well, ever since I moved here. Ever.
5 years?
6 years. 5 years? It'll be 6 years
Bloody
soon,
hell.
I think. So it's crazy.
It's a weird one. It's the first one in a while I've not seen my parents. They were over here last year, the year before I was back in the UK. I went through a spell of not seeing them, and now it's like weird. Not obviously we can't travel, all the restrictions,
exactly.
and it kind of sucks.
Usually has something planned where we'd meet somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I actually don't even remember what I used to eat for Christmas dinner. Does that make sense? Like with all the fam?
Oh God, no, yeah.
I
good
don't
point.
even recall. I think there
Oh.
was like a chestnut soup.
Well, last year
That was good.
Last year, all my friends over here, we did like a big Nomads Christmas,
Yeah.
and they did like a roast turkey, like a roast ham. They did like this
Ham, that's it.
huge lunch.
That's
it was amazing.
Ham.
It was
Turkey's Thanksgiving for us, but ham is definitely cooked.
Yeah, because it's Thanksgiving time, right?
Yeah. Well, it's it's all the same, really.
When
It
is
all blends
Thanksgiving?
together. Thanksgiving's
States?
Thursday. November already happened.
Ah,
Yeah,
I
but
completely missed that.
it's all the same stuff. Like happy holidays, It's all.
Well, yeah. Well, this is our holiday special. We're super pumped to be back. We were confusingly late doing this last week, and we're confusingly early doing it this week. So there's been very little time between pods. I feel like we were just here.
Luckily, there was a freaking 4-hour presentation, just releasing every bit of news ever to the world.
Well, yeah.
Which, by the way, okay, so I'm obviously referencing the Disney investor
Yeah, of
presentation,
course.
which is going to be the topic
that's
of the show.
going to be half of this podcast.
At least half. So there's a lot of stuff about all the things we care about in all the different worlds released news wise. And,
Yeah.
I was just thinking as I was reading through that stuff, this is a 4-hour long presentation, which is crazy enough, right? Just 4 hours sitting anywhere. And obviously these people did. But at least it was 4 hours of really cool stuff to talk about, right? If you're sitting in that meeting, it made me realize I'm definitely in the wrong industry.
But didn't you see how bored they all fucking look?
I mean, but can you imagine though if they were talking about
Kevin
tech or something?
Feige, he was like, "I'm so sick of doing this shit."
Well, it's also he would be though, but it's also when I sit through a 4-hour meeting in my career, my first thought isn't fuck, let's make a podcast about this shit. Let's talk for this shit for another hour. So obviously they've done something right.
Yeah, that's
because
fair
they've got
point.
this ecosystem.
We're a little late to the party. I know there's a lot of other fantastic similar podcasts, but the way this has been lined up, and we're going to go into this in a moment. Unless something goes horribly wrong, comic book movies and this genre of movies is not going to die for a long time.
No, they're making too much
money.
A
long fucking time. Well, anyway, let's jump into the normal things we talk about.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, buddy?
What
in the
have I
last
been up
3
to?
days?
I was going to say, since I last spoke to you, I actually did watch. I started Mulan.
Okay.
With me
live
the
action
live action one.
recreation?
Got halfway through and fell asleep, but that was because I was just very, very hungover. Yeah, it was interesting. It was different.
Would you have paid $30 for it when it came out?
Absolutely not so far.
No.
Yeah, no. Well, we thought about it, and I was like, no.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, I struggle with that. I don't feel like that's justified.
I think that with certain IP you can, and maybe the kids would. Maybe you'd take
$30 is a lot. Though.
Yeah, but are they trying to get me and you to pay that, or are they trying to get somebody's dad to pay it for their kids who really wants to see Mulan?
Doesn't matter. I mean? It's a free market. Anyone can be buying it. I think it's a bit, and I think they're going to do that with a few of the
Star Wars and Marvel, they're probably going to for sure do
Widow,
all their big IPs, and I
way.
guess they probably thought that this is a pretty big IP for the youth.
Well, okay, before we start talking about the Marvel stuff,
yeah,
last week we touched on the Warner Brothers announcement that all their upcoming movies were going to HBO Max.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing about that is, outside of Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot, as I think I said correctly, it doesn't sound like they fucking told anybody else. Like, so many directors are coming out, like, saying, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's incredible. Like, you've got Chris Nolan's coming out saying, like, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't sound like...
Why is Christopher Nolan saying what the fuck? Is he even on any slated for anything?
It's
more just his...
In his world, it's about the cinema experience. Fair enough.
No, so it's more just him saying this is dumb?
Yeah. Like, why are you skipping the cinema experience type thing? And I understand it from that place, but it sounds like they haven't told any of the directors. And, like, so for example...
Like, if you're a director who actually directed the movie, like, sure, you'd be a little annoyed, but you totally also wouldn't have thought to put that in your contract.
Well, for example, James Gunn was like, huh? Like, what? Like, that's not an exact quote, by the way.
Yeah. Huh? What?
But they all came...
George Clooney, no? Wobble? That's what Tommy was doing right there. Huh? What? George Clooney?
That's a throwback to another episode if you've not listened to it. That's a phenomenal reference. I enjoy that.
Did my best.
But yeah, no, so like... you named the director. They were shell-shocked by this announcement. And a lot of them are saying they don't sound like they're going to be compensated for it. It's like... It's a bit of a shit show.
Well... I guess it really would tie into like if you had some kind of compensation for like attendance baked into your contract, right? And if you don't, or if you did, then like how did they not think of that? That's a pretty big stipulation.
Money mate.
Yeah, but like they can easily get sued now.
Well,
there's probably no clause. It's just like if we, decide to just not show it in theaters. Actually, maybe there's a gap in their contracts as well. Because of that, because no one could have predicted. Yeah, no one could have predicted.
Well,
that'd be bad luck though for HBO. I'm sure they'll find a solution.
Well, apparently, I believe it's Legendary who essentially financed Godzilla vs. Kong. You know the upcoming movie?
Yeah. In the same universe and all that.
Yeah. Well, apparently, so that wasn't necessarily financed by Warner Media. It was financed predominantly by the sounds of it by this Legendary group. Mm-hmm. And they're like... What the fuck? You didn't tell us. Like, this is our money. So, like, man, like, I think they're going to be in a lot of fucking...
But how do they actually pay them for that as well? Like, if it goes straight to the streaming service...
Legendary Pictures finance 75% of the movie's budget.
So do they just get, like, a percentage of...
Who knows?
Their streaming revenue?
Well, I mean, you would assume that in the original contract it was to do with the money it made in cinemas. But, like, obviously... Movies aren't making money in cinemas.
Yeah, that's actually a huge fuck up.
It's mad.
The more you bring it up, Anyway.
Well, anyway, that's not what I've been doing. I finally finished Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh yeah, you were 60 or 70% done 4 days ago. You must have had a session.
Well, it's actually quite a short game, and I was just doing side missions, so I finally got around to actually playing the fucking game. And it's very satisfying for a shorter game. I enjoyed it a lot. It was good. I don't want to spoil anything for you because you might play it at some point.
Yeah, well, if I ever get a PS5.
If you do, you can have it. It's phenomenal. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Would I play it again?
Does it have enough replay value to play again?
I don't think so. I would probably rather just play the original one again. But I think at some point I've played like 3 times the original one anyway. But I think they'll eventually bring out like a full Spider-Man game, and I think it will have a lot more of Miles. I love that character. I think it's great.
It just wasn't dense enough. There just wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't a full title. It wasn't your full title in the sense that the original Marvel Spider-Man was. It was more like a shorter title for the PS5 release, which I completely understand, and I'm cool with that. Not like we've said 100 times. Not every game has to be 70,000 hours long, which is actually interesting because a lot of the initial reviews for Cyberpunk have come out, and a lot of them are saying... I was about to bring that up. Yeah, a lot of them are saying it's not great.
I've seen mixed.
Okay, yeah, well...
But like, the stock standard ones are like IGN and Game Informer, they give it a good...
Of course it did, that's them.
The 9, like...
Apparently it's not a finished game. There's a lot of bugginess.
I've heard there's a lot of bugginess. Yeah, that's like...
There's a lot of stuff that's been cut out.
It's the only complaint I've really heard. And then also that like the main story is a bit short, but because of how intertwined the side quests are, like you can still have a fulfilling experience.
Because that's not like the Witcher's. Like we were talking, we thought this was going to be very Witcher-esque in terms of.
I'm sure. Well, like I don't know, dude. If you play The Witcher 3, I haven't. But is the main story actually that long? Well, or is it just you just don't know where the main story begins? That's a very good point. I've got no fucking idea. I would say that I'm still excited to play that game eventually, and
I'll give it some time.
it's going to be very Witcher-esque. That you're going to have trouble like not being able like keeping track of all the side quests and all that stuff. And if you're a completionist gamer, it's going to be tough because I've heard that like people have put like hundreds of hours in and had 6 different endings.
Oh wow, really?
So there's like that. It's like high replay value game. Like don't stress if you miss things. Just have an experience and then do it again.
And you can play with like 100 different. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go very No Man's Sky with this. I'm going to give it a year, wait for them to patch it a bunch.
I was going to say, I bet if you wait this a year, it'll be a much better experience.
I think that's going to be a significant bit. I'll probably just do that, and then I'll probably have a PS5 by then.
Yeah, it'll also
Fingers
be cheaper.
crossed. Yeah, well, that's
the game does look pretty sick on the PS5 compared to like
really?
The PS4. I was looking at like a, I don't know.
You've got a good TV for it though. I've got just a fucking normal. I got the TV.
I literally bought my TV because of Red Dead. I was like, this game looks so sick on a shitty TV.
And you didn't talk about it when we were talking about movies.
What about games if it was on a brand new TV? Yeah. Didn't notice a difference, but it was worth it anyway.
Amazing. Well, this being our Christmas show, we thought we'd break it down into a couple of different things. We do have a main feature, and we are going to talk about news. But as we mentioned up top, the news is literally going to be going through this Disney investor meeting and just picking out some of the things we're super excited about, some of the things we'd like to know more about and don't know enough yet. Drey's actually done some research this week, so he's going to be able to actually have some input for once.
I'll do my best.
But so what we'll do then is we'll break it down into a few different bits. I've got a few key notes, and maybe we can just discuss them, have a little chat, and say, like, what do you think? What do you think?
Start with your keynotes.
Well, my initial note about the investor meeting is just, wow. It was amazing.
Lots of content.
So much content. And like, I knew this investor meeting was coming up. I'd heard it on a different podcast. And these things are usually just like, here's, a couple of highlight reels to get you excited. This is 5 years worth of stuff.
They just had all this stuff sitting, for sure, and just didn't know how they were going to announce it because there was like no strategy coming down from the CEO of Disney being like, here's what we need to do. Because everyone was so in flux with coronavirus, and so now it's just this like, fuck it, the faucet's open.
Just go. Hit everything. Well, let's start at the top and work our way down. So first and foremost, Disney announced an addition to their Disney Plus service, which is just called Star, which is for international markets, which is going to be for more mature content. So we're going to have things like Logan, and then they obviously bought back catalogs from elsewhere, from Fox, so they're going to have things like Die Hard on there. It's probably going to cost a little more, and it's coming out in February 21 through most markets, except I think Asia. I'm excited. I'll pay for that. I'm down. I'd love to have Die Hard at my fingertips. By the way, the best Christmas movie.
Not a Christmas movie.
Definitely a Christmas movie.
Not a Christmas movie.
Definitely. We're not going to get into this now.
Yeah.
This is argument for another time. We have a completely different Christmas themed topic coming up. But what do you think about that? Are you excited? Because I mean, like, Logan's one of my favorite.
Yeah, I won't get it until they prove it out a bit more. But
what do you mean?
Like, I wouldn't pay for it right now.
It's just an add-on.
Yeah, it's going to be another like $3 or whatever a month or something.
I probably would.
Yeah, I don't think I would yet because it's like I'm already like Disney. Give me more content for Disney Plus. I only have I think more original content that I haven't already seen that's on Disney. So once they prove that out, and then if they like start doing X-Men stuff that's really mature and put it on, then I'm like, okay. I'm
not sure about X-Men. I'm thinking probably this is an outlet for like the Daredevils of the world.
Whatever it may be. Like I want to see it first.
Sure, yeah, understood.
Because I've already I'm an early adopter of Disney Plus, and for 6 months it wasn't really relevant to me.
Well, I mean, they also have Hulu, which is very similar, and I think this is going to be more adult focused, not in the sense of these type of shows, but more in terms of the actual programs. So we've got things like Handmaid's Tale, which is returning for season 4, and I think that's going to be more mature content, should we say?
I would for sure. I think I saw the pilot to it, and I never watched anything else, but I've heard such good things, and it is definitely more mature. Just from what I saw in the trailer and in the first episode. I've never seen
Handmaid's Tale.
Really? Handmaid's Tale? Handmaid's Tale?
I don't know.
It's really good.
It's meant to be incredible.
Then the Alien show, which I think is like interesting, man.
Dude, that sounds cool.
Don't really care.
Well, it's been helmed by the dude who did Fargo.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's incredibly well respected.
Everyone's so obsessed with Alien as an IP.
Yeah.
It's been overdone.
We talked about it literally 3 days ago.
I know, it's been killed.
This show is apparently going to be based on Earth. So that's changed the story completely in the first place. Like,
true.
Imagine if you could find some, I don't know, the first thing I think of when I think of this is if you imagine the first scene in Stranger Things when the thing from the Upside Down, the demagogue or whatever they call it, is stalking those guys in the science lab.
Yeah.
And then it's just in the elevator. Like, that's the kind of horror that I'm thinking of. Like, not because obviously Aliens is based in space, etc., etc. But bring it to Earth and you put it in a setting that's not only claustrophobic but also is somewhere that you can relate to, somewhere you feel like you've been. That's gonna scare the shit out of people.
Yeah, I guess I've just seen so much of this
IP
that was so similar.
No, fair enough.
I don't know. I hope that. Look, I'll probably watch it, but
I'll watch it for sure.
For me, it was whatever.
Okay. Well, the other big IP outside of the Lucasfilm and Marvel stuff is that is that Indiana Jones is getting a 5th installment coming out 2022.
You think they'll get Shia back?
He's had some pretty rough stuff in the news in the last couple of weeks. I think he'll be. I don't think he'll be attached.
Just because he's just doing some crazy things, or
he's a bit of a. I'll let the listeners look into that in their own time. But yeah, well, I would love. I'm trying to think of who they can bring back. So obviously Harrison Ford will come back. I mean, I'd say he's too old to be an action star at this stage. Like,
I mean,
he's gone past Expendables.
Not the kind of action star that he was in the first 3. But like, it's not like he was doing his own. Maybe he was. He's willing to do these crazy stunts in those movies, I mean, so it doesn't have to be that kind of movie. Could
you bring in like a sort of semi-replacement, like the way they could have done, they should have done Shia's character in the original in 4, but do it actually good? Like, I feel like there's enough precedence in film these days to do that, where he's giving him the looks over the shoulder and is like, oh, maybe he can do this. I feel like it's doable. Would you have Nazis in there this time though?
I mean, you could do something that isn't exactly Nazis. You could do something that.
There's
plenty of extremist things going on in the world that could maybe be more relevant. But I don't know. I think I saw that and I was like, oh, again.
Look, Indiana Jones 1, 2.
The fourth one wasn't that good.
Kind of 3 were at least 2 of my like favorite childhood movies growing up. The Temple of Doom, not so much, but I still enjoyed it a lot. 4 was obviously crap, and I don't believe it's a thing anymore.
I just think it lost the like thing that made it cool, right? I don't know what it was, like, and part of me wonders if maybe like you just can't make an Indiana Jones movie in 2020. Like, it's too. The mystique is like the world's less. There's less mystique in the world. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they need to change the setting so that it brings me back into that feeling.
Interesting.
Or maybe they.
How would you update it from Modern World? Because obviously, I mean, nowadays you just get your camera phone out.
Yeah, I guess that's my point.
He's here.
Like it just feels like maybe it needs to be the Amazon. Was it in the Amazon? Was the 4th one in the Amazon?
Dude, it's stricken from my memory. It's like
the Crystal Skull or whatever.
It's up there with Batman and Robin. Like, I don't remember that shit.
My point is, I don't know if you can recreate what made that original Indiana Jones in the 80s good.
Do you have any other of the highlights outside of the 2 big...
Outside of Marvel and Star Wars? Yeah, that's pretty much all I had.
Okay, well, let's just quickly talk about the Lucasfilm stuff. So, there are a couple of new shows that have been announced. Well, there are 10 shows been announced, all in all. 10! Yeah. So, as spin-offs from The Mandalorian, 2 interesting shows. And one of them you called 2 weeks ago.
For sure.
There's Rangers of the New Republic, which they could go, I don't know, wherever they wanted to. And then there's Ahsoka? Ahsoka. Which is
stoked for that.
It's a limited run, and it's going to again star Rosario Dawson.
By limited run, it's just going to be like 1 or 2 seasons or something.
I mean it's probably going to be like 4 or 5 episodes, maybe.
Oh
6.
wow, okay.
Like, it's going to be a short run thing, but at the same time, that's really cool. She's amazing in that. She was phenomenal in that one episode.
That one episode was great. Yeah,
and she's been obviously you mentioned she's been in animated series, and she was incredible in that too. So like, if she gets the right rights involved and they carry on. But it sounds like they're going to do like a mini TV version of Avengers where they're obviously spin-offs from the show, and then they bring them all together for
They're going to Marvelize it for sure.
A little bit, yeah.
What do you think of that? I'm totally okay with that. Like, Star Wars has that world where almost I feel like that's what it was missing some of the time, at least with this last trilogy they did. It was like, you have all this stuff, like someone be in the control tower and please like make me feel like this is planned out and these characters all have arcs and this is a living, breathing, organic world where events affect each other. And it didn't with that trilogy. Every movie was like a whole new story. And so I'm glad they're starting to trend this way, and I wish they would have done it earlier. It's too bad they didn't. Well, but I'm really excited. Like, Rangers of the New Republic sounds interesting to me because it reminds me of game like Knights of the Old Republic. And I'm like, okay, what are they?
How much it's going to draw from the video game series?
Even if it doesn't, I think it's probably a different era.
Series.
I think it's a different era because it's probably like Rangers exploring the New Republic post the
of course.
The Star Wars trilogy that just happened, as opposed to like the Jedi of the Old Republic.
I'm thinking it's going to be cool. I'm down.
But that to me sounds more interesting. It sounds more honestly sounds very Mandalorian.
Yeah, so the one thing that really gets me about the Mandalorian, the thing that I probably like the most about it is, and this is going to sound really dumb because we're talking about Star Wars, but they avoid Jedi as much as possible and Sith. Now, the reason I think the reason that might sound dumb is, I mean, quite obvious, but the reason for me that is because I think they're too overpowered. You've got these like unbeatable like war machines who've got swords that can cut through almost anything, light swords. And it's like it takes away a lot of unless you're having them fighting each other, in which case then it just becomes like bashing heads together. It takes a bit away from it.
I think they should explore I think that they should try and strip that power down a bit in these new things, like in the sense that like they seem to, with even the one where she crossed over, like she didn't just go at it alone because she was like, this whole in that last episode of The Mandalorian.
Well, he blocked her lightsabers,
she's
which I didn't know you could even do.
This would be only with what is it,
Beskar? Which is kind of cool.
They're adding to that lore, right? I think they are going to go that way, and I do think that even she was just like, "Fuck, I can't go attack this on my own. Like it does help here, kind of thing."
Hey, I had this crazy theory about lightsabers, and I wish this could have been done at the very beginning. That like, it's not a theory, sorry. It's me like having my own ideas about lightsabers. Imagine if the lightsaber was only as good as the wielder. Like, don't get me wrong, they can cut through everything anyway. But like the light force can be broken, so the light force is to do with the force. And if you're not strong with
it could be enhanced or diminished by
exactly. So like when you see in video games, I mean, this would be classically good for video games. So in video games, you give a character a lightsaber, but you still have to hit a stormtrooper 10 times to kill it. Doesn't make sense because like a lightsaber is supposed to cut through practically everything, right? Yeah. So. But if you're at the beginning of the game and your dude wasn't strong with the force yet, there's a reason why maybe that's not quite killing him, because the sensitivity of the blade isn't quite there yet. I'd have loved that at the very beginning. That would have been incredible.
Yeah. I mean, they could still do that kind of stuff because they just rip the cannon apart.
They just have to rip the whole thing.
Well, they've already kind of done that, to be fair. Anyway, Rangers of the New Republic, super into. No, I like that, particularly as a premise for a game. Like, makes sense. It helps you rationalize it a little bit more as the player.
Yeah, fair enough. And they've also, on top of that as well, finally released some info on the Obi-Wan series, which, we've had some new details, including Hayden Christensen returning as Darth Vader.
Turned full hippie and they got him back. So either
who would have guessed?
He was like living on like a farm in some north part of Canada.
Oh, I thought you meant Darth Vader.
No.
The fuck? When was this in the law?
Hayden Christensen hasn't done a movie in decades.
Yeah, no, he kind of retired, didn't he?
Yeah, but point being, this is either they paid him a lot, which they probably did.
Yeah, probably.
But also, or it's an interesting story that he's intrigued by.
But also gives you an opportunity to revamp his name in Hollywood. Like, you think about it, he's down the pecking order.
Well, does he want to? I don't know, but
probably. I mean, if you killed a beloved franchise, essentially.
I don't think that's why he doesn't have a career, though. I think he kind of
he didn't kill took himself out. What I mean.
Yeah, but point being, I wonder if he liked what he read, kind of thing. And
yeah, well, this is set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, and I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think about it potentially setting up the rematch of Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader?
Revenge. So it's set
10 years.
To me, maybe it's interesting to me because I'm like, are they going to change or retcon some stuff? Because if I remember correctly, it was kind of heavily implied in the ending of A New Hope that they hadn't seen each other since I wonder that when they had that battle. But maybe I got to go back and watch it to know for sure. To be fair,
I mean, I don't remember dialogue. I'm going to be perfectly honest, but I can get where you're coming from. But there's also I forgot what it is on YouTube. There's a video whereby how in that scene you literally see them face off, and then a blaster shuts the door, and you don't see any of the fight. And then you see the end of the fight where he finally takes him down. Yeah. Spoilers for Star Wars from 1970, whatever it is. Takes out the skin, it's down. There is actually, if you look up on YouTube, there is a fucking incredible fan-made video where they create the fight between the two of them, and it is sickeningly good. That is what I want to see if I'm seeing two Jedi or Sith Jedi going at each other. It's unreal. And they're destroying stuff with the Force. They're throwing stuff around. They're flying around the place. Oh, mate, it's worth a watch. 100%.
Couldn't do that back in the day. So I'm glad someone else did. But
No.
Anyway, that is one I would say if I had to like. There's a lot.
Which of those three do you want to see?
I'm way more excited about these Star Wars series than I am about the Marvel ones, to be honest.
Hell, well, there's one we haven't spoken about yet, which is the Lando TV show, which is obviously.
Well, there's that. So there's also Andor.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm.
I mean, to be fair, that was the best movie of all those spinoffs by far. Rogue One. But I'm not super. I don't know how much you can delve into that story anymore.
They're like dead.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a prequel to that. I mean, but point being, like what got me was it's like a sci-fi spy thriller, which I'm like, okay, that's kind of my jam.
I didn't see that part. That's cool though.
But no, like of all the Star Wars ones,
of those,
there's a lot of them I like way more than the Marvel. But the Lando spinoff is one of the ones where I was like, are they really? Are they really
Donald Glover back?
I mean, if Donald Glover comes back, then like it's got hope. But I do feel like they're stretching the like. Can he carry a whole show? Will it be good? I don't know. Is my point.
Well, Billy D. Williams is technically still alive, so could they do a version where it's like old Billy D. Williams is remembering his old past adventures, and it's
just like
Donald Glover. Yeah,
it's kind of like funny as well.
I
wonder what the tone they do is like.
I'd be intrigued by the tone of that one. Well, of those four, which are you most excited for? Hit me.
Well, there's also another one that's like set in the High Republic about the dark side called Acolyte.
You see that one? I mean,
that one I would put in the top three, but it's too early.
We've got more information about.
Yeah, it's too early. I would say probably the Obi-Wan one, just because I love Ewan McGregor, and then Osaka.
I think for me it's Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, she's gonna be. I really like Rosario Dawson. She's actually in the Daredevil TV show as well. She is Claire. She is the nurse who patches him up when he gets the crap kicked out of him all the time.
Got it.
And she's so good in that too. Yeah, big fan of her. But there's two movies I'd quickly like to touch on before we move on. The first one is Rogue Squadron, which is essentially a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings, which sounds to me like a massive attempt to cash in on toys and video games. But
there is a game.
But yeah, of course. Yeah. But it has Patty Jenkins, obviously Wonder Woman fame, who is helming this movie, and I think that could be like in my mind. So it's those two things. It's like, are they trying to sell a remake on the video game?
Of course they are.
Or are they trying to make an incredible Patty Jenkins movie? She thinks it's going to be sick.
Yeah.
And I'm down for Patty Jenkins. She's so good.
Look, I mean, again, another one where I'm like, wow, they are really milking it. But you're right. This one, I guess I like that. I like with like the Star Wars ones that I almost know nothing. So I'm like, they could just cast a bunch of no names and I could be surprised like I was with Rogue One.
Well,
whereas the Marvel ones, I know too much already.
Well, the other film we know nothing about is that they've announced that Taika Waititi will be helming an unnamed Star Wars movie, and they've got the Star Wars logo for it, and it looks really wacky and like super. I mean, look, if you're gonna give him a movie, you've just got to let him do what the fuck he wants. At this point, the man is gold dust. Okay, well, on a scale of 1 to 2001, The Chronic, how excited about this are you?
Which one? Sorry,
just the Star Wars news in general. There's a lot happening.
Yeah, like I don't know if I'm like full. Still Drey.
Fanboying it.
Yeah, but it's like it's a banger. Like I'm excited about it.
It's a banger.
Yeah.
It's forgot about Drey for the minute, but it's not quite still. Okay, so you can throw out every single one of them, and you can only keep one. Which one are you keeping? All the stuff we just talked about.
If I had to throw them all out,
you have to throw out every single one except one.
This is rude. You mean just one?
Yep, that's all you
got. I'd probably say the Obi-Wan.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I basically just did that anyway.
Yeah, true. I'm just going to go blindly with my faith for Taika Waititi. I just think, oh no, you know what? I'll take that back. I'm going to
it'd be one of those two.
I'm going to go the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron. I think the space battles could be really interesting. I think that's kind of a fun concept, and she's great. So yeah, I'm going to go with that.
I think Obi-Wan just because I feel like it's going to have more content, and I'm like, if I have to have one.
Ewan McGregor too?
Yeah.
Okay. On a scale, yeah, okay, well, let's change that. On a scale of 1 to... Wow. How many W's are at the end?
Wow. Of what? Sorry. What was the scale?
Wow.
Yeah, but like...
How many wows are we going? How long is the wow going for?
For all the Disneys?
How long is the wow going for?
The wow is going for like at least 10 wows.
10?
Wow. Okay, I can't do that.
This is great content, isn't it?
No,
okay, Marvel.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Up next. So what I've broken this down into a couple of different bits. We've got new trailers. We've got casting announcements. We've got new show announcements. And we've got movie announcements. So, trailers. first one, Loki. Talk to me about that trailer. What did you think?
I did see that trailer, and I'm pretty excited about this one.
Yes, and this is why we have the wow. Because Owen Wilson's in it.
That was a wow.
Yeah.
That was a wow.
Yeah.
Now I understand your joke. Oh, God, I'm slow today, guys. The brain has been a long day.
It's taken a little while.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
But that one, I was like, wow.
Wow.
Owen Wilson.
Wow. Dude, it looks incredible. And
he looks good.
Yeah.
You should just go gray, bro.
There's so
and
many...
cut his hair short. I think he looks better rather than that like weird, like almost like Karen.
Yeah, I don't
hair.
like
He's got like a Karen haircut.
Candy floss hair.
He has a Karen haircut.
It's very odd.
His standard haircut is Karen. It is.
Karen Wilson. Well, I think the trailer is incredible. There's a bunch of callbacks to other Marvel properties. For example, when he hits the sand, it's a callback to the Iron Man movie, for example.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other stuff. So obviously it was very... it was rumored. It's the TVA on his jumpsuit when he gets taken in. That's the Time Variance Authority. I mean, I don't know a huge amount about this, but for all comic book nerds like ourselves, these are the custodians of chronology. In the MCU, basically, they...
Sounds very much like...
they monitor violations in time and try and keep the timeline in shape.
In Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Very similar to that.
Interesting.
Dude, I didn't realize that TV time. I didn't put that together.
Well, that's who's got him in the chat.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
His...
I just loved when they showed him leaving again. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
In Endgame or whatever it was. Where he just like sees the cubes, like
hightails it.
It's like his face is just cracking.
Tom Hiddleston though, man. Like, I just think he's got so much range. He did look a bit
older though. I will say.
Yeah, you could tell.
He aged a bit. He's been partying.
Well, I mean, he's not. Well, Avengers was 2012. It's 8 years ago, bro.
Yeah,
8 years,
even from the
I look completely different from 8 years ago.
For sure. But even from the Endgame movie, which probably would have been 3 years ago when it was filmed, to be fair.
Yeah, actually, fair point.
Yeah.
But he looks good, and there's so many little like nitbits in there that people have picked out. And like, if you want to talk about all of the Easter eggs, go watch a fucking YouTube video. There's 10 million of them.
I feel like that will be the Marvel Disney Plus show that I'm most excited
you're
about.
Pulled in for.
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting. Honestly, that's one that, I mean, he's a Brit. He's incredible. I think it's definitely one that's got my attention. But I'm very interested to know your thoughts on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because you didn't sound overly excited a minute ago.
Meh.
What do you mean, meh?
Just meh.
It's like a buddy
there are
cop.
jokes even in the trailer. Like, that was the joke you found to put in the trailer. I was so flat. When they were like bantering, I was like, this is like the shittest banter
perhaps
ever.
For once
those guys would have won shittest banter
bit.
award if we had a Lads Day and they were invited. That was shit banter.
Well, perhaps just for once they're not putting all the best bits in the trailer. Just for once.
But like maybe, yeah, for sure. Like maybe these studio execs have totally changed strategy, or maybe the show is gonna be shit.
I think it's gonna be more action focused.
I will say it might be a good one to have on in the background while I work and watch TV.
Yeah,
where I don't really have to focus and I can just work and have something on.
Well, do you think that's down to the actors, Mackie and Stan?
Well, I guess like that was my point when I brought this up earlier in the podcast by saying like, do they have the things to carry it? Like, sure. They have the property, but like, no, they don't have the like. Iron Man was nothing, but Robert Downey Jr. was phenomenal. Like, they don't have performances like that across a lot of the stack of these shows, in my opinion.
I think they're playing the characters that they have been given very well, but the characters they've been given, let's be honest, one of them is a brainwashed psychopath, and the other one is
just very boring, dude.
I think he's gone. It does seem like the characters aren't that exciting.
Yeah. But
I'm holding out hope for this. I agree with you that I think Loki's going to be probably the best one.
Can I ask you about the next one? Unless you have one planned.
Which one?
I Am Groot.
Ah.
How are they going to make a series about this? He
can't
be the lead dude.
So that's not that's going to be a short-lived.
Okay.
It's going to be a bunch of little shorts, and it's like short stories about. I think it's. We don't know anything about it.
It was going to be like a full show.
No, it's going to be short.
I was like, they have to include the Guardians then. It can't just be.
I'm intrigued by that show. That's going to be fun.
Funny,
well, if you're talking about if we're going down that way, then what about What If? What do you think of that? I think that looks incredible. So obviously, What If?
Sorry, I missed that.
So What If is obviously built off comics of the same name, where they put the different Marvel heroes in situations that aren't necessarily their own reality. So, for example, this is going to be an animated show.
Yeah.
So, for example, you got Captain Britain, which is Peggy Carter instead of Captain America being Steve Rogers. You have a bunch of other stuff. So, for example, T'Challa is Star-Lord instead of Black Panther. And then there's one where Doctor Strange has this weird evil doppelganger thing. And then they're going to bring in Marvel Zombies, which is what I've wanted for so long.
It seems to me to be a stretch, but I'm sure people like it.
It's all based on comic book stuff.
I like the continuity of the MCU. Like that was actually what got me really into.
This is just that little side fun.
Yeah, this is like a science project.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised though if some of the things really resonate within that show. And they're obviously doing the Multiverse of Madness stuff. They could happily bring in a few of those different bits.
No, I agree, but to me, it's not the cool.
Okay, well, tell me then. What do you think of WandaVision? We got a real in-depth look at it. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you.
It looks like the most boring show ever.
Fuck you.
It looks like I Am Lucy, bro.
What is wrong with you?
We are in 2020. Almost in 2021, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, why is this show in black and white? Why? It surely won't all be black and white. I know, but
every episode's going to be a different time period. We've had this conversation multiple times.
Meh.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said this. I think this one's got serious House of X
like, what is the tone gonna be?
House of M vibes.
Like, what is this gonna be?
in the comics, House of M is essentially it's a long built out story whereby Scarlet Witch eventually, she's one of the most powerful mutants in like the universe, and she eventually cracks. And she wipes out all mutants from existence. And I wonder if this is going to be a way of resetting certain things within the Marvel timeline. Different characters are going to be involved in this. It's not just those two. There's a lot of other.
So you're excited because of like the lore that it will build, but like for me,
I'm just intrigued. I think there's going to be so much interesting stuff in there.
So to be fair, you could be totally right, but like these trailers are just not selling it for me. It was like a really weird trailer. Like you probably are right. They're probably going to use this and to explore like a bunch of different stuff. And you're right. Put the phase 4.
Yes.
Whatever the next phase is. What phase are we in?
4.
Phasons 4. They're gonna put this will probably push that into effect. So like it'll be interesting and intriguing for that alone, and I will watch. But I just am like, God, she kind of bugs me, and Vision's just so one dimensional. I'm just like, tell me there's more people in this show that'll be intriguing.
We're doing a whole podcast about this exact thing. You know that, right? This is going to be our life for the next 3 years.
Then you get to hold it over my head when I'm wrong. Because I totally could be.
Who knows? Well, okay. Well, we're spending a lot of time on this. Let's skip on a little bit.
You mean you don't want to talk about Don Cheadle's War Machine?
All right. So you don't know the background behind this clearly. The background behind that show is in the comics that Tony Stark's greatest fear actually comes to reality, and his tech starts being used by his enemies, by the people, by the bad guys of the world. Yeah. And he has to go around and clean up all his mess. This could be really cool. Imagine all the different types of Iron Man armors we could have. The different kinds of weapons. I was going to put this later on because we didn't get a trailer for it, but you don't think that sounds cool?
Yeah, it's better than the other ones, I guess.
I think my issue with that is I'm not the biggest fan of Don Cheadle as that character. I think he's great in other things. He's
it's not his best role.
No,
I actually like the other guy.
Yeah.
Who did they have in it originally? He was good.
Yeah, well, apparently, you know the story behind that.
I think that he didn't get paid enough or something, right?
Well, apparently, the story is that to come back for the sequel, he'd pushed for Robert Downey Jr. to get the role in the first one.
Yeah.
And to come back for the sequel, Downey Jr. wanted more money, and to make that more money, they took money off him basically to put it in Downey Jr.'s pocket, and he was incensed. And they just like, well, he's the star, he's the one who made the last movie, so you can be recast. Which
pretty savage though.
Brutal.
Imagine that now.
Man. Imagine that now.
Probably because it was early in the MCU.
Well, it was, and they didn't have any money back then, etc. Well, so casting announcements. Let's jump into this.
Oh, this is the best.
We finally got confirmation that She-Hulk is going to be Tatiana Maslany, which I think I finally said right, maybe at last. She's great. We talked about this a while ago. Basically, a lot of these are ones that we have talked about and were rumored, just weren't confirmed. She actually came out and said it wasn't true, but it clearly is. And returning for the show will be Mark Ruffalo. So the Hulk's going to be in there in some form. If that's an interesting one though, right? Because She-Hulk can change between human and Hulk
easily.
Well, like the Hulk.
Yeah.
But he's obviously now Professor Hulk, where he's Hulk all the time. I forgot,
he's just like this weird
if you think,
middle.
Yeah, but if you think about it, that's a lot of fucking money to keep him looking like that the whole time. So are they going to pump money into this, or are they...
I don't know. Maybe it'll just be a little...
It's an interesting one.
Maybe it'll just be a little cameo. Ruffalo's fun.
I think that's going to be a good film. Ms. Marvel has been confirmed as Iman Vellani. Great. perfect. We knew that was coming, but apparently she's going to cross over with a bunch of other shows. She is going to cross over with the Captain Marvel 2 movie, which we're going to talk about in a moment. And that's going to be fun. So you wanted to talk about.
I was just saying
Christian
the one that
Bale.
we've already talked about it, but the one that he got confirmed, that's the one I want to talk about as far as confirmation.
Character's been confirmed. Do you know a lot about God the God Butcher?
I don't know the backstory, but the guy looks like a badass. I googled him.
In the comics.
He looks like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Don't want to fuck with that guy.
Well,
I wonder if he's gonna have that kind of makeup on.
Well, I'm intrigued by that because I mean they could go any way with it. Like so in the comics, it's just a dude who, it's an alien
creature
who so his family gets murdered in some horrific way.
Yeah.
And he like denounces the gods. He's like, gods don't exist. But then he happens to stumble across gods actually existing.
Like Thor.
And he's like, fuck this. And he goes off and he finds this sword. And the name of it's completely lost for a moment on me. But it's essentially a symbiote. So Venom. It's made from the same stuff as them. And this sword gives him the power, the buzz to go and the crank to go and kill gods.
Wow.
So he's going to have a rough and tumble with Thor.
Do you reckon they'll bring that into the...
Well, that's the question.
That'd be cool.
Or will it just be a cool sword?
Yeah. I hope they do.
Well, it's interesting because... Well, that could easily be a way to bring Venom into the MCU. Symbiotes, But then it was never... I don't know if... I never saw... I
Venom wasn't in the... They told us that it wasn't.
Well, I fell asleep in the Venom movie, so I don't know if they explicitly say it's a symbiote. But...
they do.
Okay.
Something like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, anyway, that's going to be pretty cool. And but my question is, right, that's quite deep. That's quite mature, let's say.
Yeah.
Whereas these Thor movies are going very far off that mature theme. They're not exactly deep and meaningful anymore. It's
Ragnarok still had intense moments.
Okay.
But it was more comedy, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Christian Bale's not going to come in and be a comedic villain, though. I would hope not. I would think he'd be intense.
But then maybe he's trying to do something different. Anyway, okay, right. We've been talking about this forever. Let's quickly move on. Show announcements. I'm just going to power through these. Secret Invasion. I actually was really hoping that was going to be the next Avengers movie. But there has been a lot of rumors recently about Samuel L. Jackson having his own TV show. That's what that's going to be. There's Ironheart, which is essentially a young Iron Man. So there are a lot of things in here which could be leading towards a Young Avengers type movie throughout, woven through all of the Marvel announcements of recent.
Was Young Avengers like a content? Like, is that a thing? Is that like a comic IP?
There's young everything in the comics.
Are they just like the young versions of every other one we've seen?
There's always some weird thing, or it's like one of their kids, or one of them coming back in time or something. There's always a thing, but she is. So that's actually a very cool character, the Ironheart one. Riri Williams is the character, and she is essentially a genius inventor who creates her own version of the Iron Man suit. And I wonder if that could even lean into the Iron Wars show. So there's a lot of things here that can cross over, which is very interesting. You mentioned I Am Groot, which I think is going to be great. I'm just so excited to see that.
I just imagine it's going to be a bunch of like the intros, like the intro to Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Like it'll be a bunch of stuff like that, which I'm totally down for.
Well, there's also, then let's do movie announcements dead quick then. So movie announcements, Captain Marvel 2, great. Going to bring back a bunch of characters.
Did you like Captain Marvel 1?
I was nonplussed by it.
Yeah,
it was fine. Like, it had some good moments. I think she falls into trap, been a bit too overpowered for me. The
it just ruins it, doesn't it?
A little bit. Seems a bit meh. Anyway, Black Panther 2, it's been delayed, but they did confirm that T'Challa won't be recast, which we said last week, which is great. Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, Quantumania. Hulkamania! I just hope that it pops up.
A bunch of people were like, confirmed, then it didn't mention Paul Rudd. I was like, I guess it's just assumed.
It's all the main cast.
It's just assumed that he's coming back.
They've recast his daughter, Cassie.
Okay. She's older now?
Well, she was older in Endgame, but I think they've just recast to have a more experienced actress, or actor, sorry. But they did confirm that Jonathan Majors is going to be playing Kang the Conqueror, which is phenomenal news. He could be a big villain for forever in the MCU. But the biggest news of the day, the big one that got a lot of retweets on our Instagram, on our Twitter account.
Is it actually? I think you're lying.
I'm not. It's that the Fantastic Four movie's been announced.
Yes. It was just the 4 though. I was hoping for more.
Yes. Well, I would assume it's not that far in production. Like a lot of people were. Think of all this stuff, and people were still bitching that we didn't get an X-Men movie announced. It's like fucking hell, guys.
Chill the fuck out. No, I was more so curious. Like, I guess they're just gonna recast the whole thing because it was like talks before.
Yeah. Well, the The big news.
It's so crazy how they
The
do
big
that.
news here is that John Watt, who has been doing the Spider-Man movies, is going to be doing it, which is great. He's nailed the tone of the movies. He's clearly a comic book fan.
There's also, because of that, people are theorizing are they going to start crossing over?
Spider-Man does a lot with Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
He has been a member of the Fantastic Four in the past. There's a great scene where...
But it's a New York thing, you know?
Yeah, there's a great scene where he obviously doesn't have a mask and he puts on a Fantastic Four outfit and they just give him a bag to put on his head, like a paper bag. That's actually a costume you can get in the Marvel Spider-Man game, the original one.
That's good.
Okay, well, which of those are you most excited about? The movies?
Probably the Fantastic Four.
I think if they can get it right, that's got a crap ton of potential.
Mainly just because now I know all the history about all the other ones. I'm like, curious.
We're gonna have to watch a Fantastic Four at some point.
Actually, definitely the Thor movie, but that was already announced. That doesn't count. Yeah.
Well, there is actually. So you know how we keep making fun of the fact there's a Captain America movie from the 90s.
Yeah.
Which is crap. And we're gonna watch at some point. There is also actually a Fantastic Four movie from the 90s which never got released. And there is some fucking crazy backstory behind it. There's a whole documentary about the backstory behind that movie.
Was it like 70s or something?
No, it was like 90s. Oh. And what happened was the rights were just going to revert back to Marvel. So all they need to do was put a show in production. So they got the show in production. They actually filmed it all. They didn't finish any special effects or anything, but they filmed it all essentially. And the actors were going out and doing press junkets.
So it's just sitting there.
Thing. Yeah, they were doing press junkets for this thing, and then they got told to cease and desist by Fox. They were like, "Stop this immediately."
We're not releasing the movie.
Yeah, and it just got canned. How fucking crazy is that? We'll do a whole episode at some point. This is one we're going to come back to. But the main topic for today is based on one of the final announcements of the Disney Investor Day, which is that there is going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, holiday special coming out. Are you excited?
I am excited for that. Much more than the recent holiday special.
Yes, which we're going to smoothly transition into.
Yeah, but I am excited for that. That was
hit me up with that main topic theme.
Main topic theme. Don't have a theme for this, Tommy. Stop putting me on the spot.
One day. So tell us about the main topic.
The main topic today is Tommy found out that there was a Star Wars holiday special, and we're talking the original trilogy that George Lucas directed with all the fan favorites. And
yep. No, it's not George Lucas. We'll get into.
Sorry, well, he didn't direct, but like I'm talking about.
He greenlit it.
I'm talking about the holiday special based off of the trilogy by the original trilogy by George Lucas.
Yeah, and this is 1978, so this is just after A New Hope.
A New Hope. It would because I could tell. I didn't even know that, but I could tell by the ages.
How young are they?
They all looked young. I could tell. I was like, this is definitely not after Return of the Jedi or something like that.
Hey, look, we're gonna go through some of the beats we would normally go through for a movie, but we're not going to go into a lot of detail on them because.
Guys, I got to be honest. I did not finish it. I got 80%.
I wish I hadn't finished. It is the worst thing I've ever seen.
And not to be confused.
Spoilers. Yeah. Not to be confused with Aquaman 2018. This is the worst movie. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, this was the first ever Star Wars spin-off, and it's also I mean, you can only call it Star Wars in the loosest of terms. It's like so barely connected.
There's
it's
like
painful.
3 scenes. Well, my first note.
Yeah.
My first note.
Well,
was how?
Go on.
Where is it? Is this canon?
No, is a quick answer. That's
not
actually
anymore for sure.
That's actually one of the first trivia things on IMDb. It's like,
really?
Is this shit canon? It's like, nope.
So you're telling me Chewbacca's living room isn't like a 70s?
Well, let's talk about that in a sec. Can you guess me the IMDb score for this? We often talk about this, and usually
I didn't see it.
No, I'm intrigued to know what you think it's going to be.
Sub 3, 2.2.
It's 2.1.
Ah,
you were close. That's bad though.
Wow,
that's hideous.
I mean, it was bad.
Yeah, well,
it was like almost. It was
Rotten Tomatoes is 27%.
Bro, well, I watched Batman all the way through. Batman and Robin all the way through. I didn't finish this. This was actually unwatchable. I couldn't finish it.
Yeah, it's not. It's not good. It was directed by Steve Binder, who is predominantly known for TV shows.
It was directed?
This is essentially a shit TV.
It was directed? Somebody was
movie.
Directing this?
Wow.
It wasn't just a home video.
Barely, Christ. So the special is notorious for its extremely negative reception. Who says extremely negative reception? Oh my God. And it's never been rebroadcast again, sorry. So, or released on home video. So the only way you can find it now is through the
YouTube.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I fucking love.
Public domain.
We were looking for it. It's not on Disney Plus. It's been vetoed from Disney Plus,
which is crazy. Because they have everything.
They even have
all their material.
All the weird racist shit that Disney put out in like the 30s.
I can't believe that. So that's in like one of the family sections.
And this shit isn't. Which, oh my god, yeah. So it's bad. All right, yeah. All right. Talk to me. So what? I'm not going to talk about tone. I'm not going to talk about themes because there aren't any.
Yeah.
But what is the plot of this fucking movie?
I actually don't know.
It's nonsense.
I think like, let me give an attempt.
Yeah,
I think
hit me.
that Chewbacca is trying to go to Christmas dinner with his family.
It's light day. It's light day. Sorry, life day. Fuck.
Some kind of
technically
equivalent of Christmas.
Well, Thanksgiving
in a galaxy far, far away. Right?
Yeah.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And he's on the way with Han Solo.
Yeah.
And they get intercepted by like the Emperor. And then like also at some point there's a little animated film short that is completely separate. Well, there's like also some performances.
Yeah. It's very
all over the place, but I think
movie.
That would be the plot. Is they're trying to in the meantime they can't get him there, and they reach out to a bunch of people wondering where they are.
So the overarching thing of the movie is that they're trying to get home, but it doesn't focus on them trying to get home. Not even a little bit. They're in it for 2 minutes at the beginning and 2 minutes at the end. It's nonsense. It focuses on his family who.
Also, the first 10 minutes were just squawking noises.
Oh my god! I literally got that as a note.
They didn't even give us subtitles.
I literally have that as a note.
It's not my job to like know Wookiee, bro.
Can you speak Wookiee?
It wasn't even Wookiee. It was like
weird.
Like.
I did write a note that just says Chewbacca's family. Lol. His outfit, right? So the Chewbacca outfit, it's kind of good. I liked it even in the 70s. Yeah. Whereas they are just
bad.
Brutally bad. Like the wife, her face is like
gruesome.
Compressed.
Yeah, gruesome.
And I appreciate this.
She's like watching a cooking show at some point. That was the weirdest fucking thing.
There's so many little bits like that. Let's go. So I've actually tried to like make notes I've gone through, but it's such bullshit that none of it actually.
They're very unorganized notes though, because the thing is so unorganized. So it's like I don't know how else you cover this other than just talking about what you remember.
So the plot is then that you are left with the Chewbacca family, and it's what happens is
the Empire finds them.
Well, they're trying to contact everyone in the rebellion.
Who knows Chewbacca and Han Solo?
See if they can. So you get these brief cameos from Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, etc. But they can't obviously contact Chewbacca because who can?
Yeah.
And then the hijinks is that the Empire turn up and they're searching the house. But this is all interspersed with weird skits of random shit.
Like side things that have no relation to anything going on.
So, like, going back to
there's 4 of them at least.
There's so many.
So I remember 4.
There is one, right? And I write a note about this, and it's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. There is a scene where the father, who's just a creepy old Wookiee, puts on this...
What was going on there?
Puts on this, like... hairdresser equipment thing, and he's
like,
not getting a perm.
No.
He's watching some weird version of OnlyFans from the 80s.
It's like cyberpunk thing, and it's like some sexual fantasy.
And it goes off onto this weird thing where she's singing.
And then it's like a musical.
But my question for you is,
my
question for you about that scene is, why would a Wookiee
like
fantasize about a human woman?
Is she human? She's got some weird wig on.
She's a human. She's more human than he is.
If you're assuming that she's human, I don't know. And if she's not human, again, I don't know.
Humanoid
and
woman.
Why is she singing?
Humanoid woman.
Yeah.
And why is it so creepy? Why is...
It's just... dude, it was so weird. Like, I wonder how much of this George Lucas even read, or was just like, oh, it'll be fun. People like it.
Well, it's clearly... Look, he has all the rights.
There's probably some trivia on this that we should have looked up. And if you did...
he has all the rights to all the toys.
Yeah.
So he's just seen a way... to get more exposure to the franchise.
And more toys.
Sell more toys.
Yeah.
But the thing I don't understand about this is if you want to sell more toys, surely you should be showing the things that the toys are in the show. For example, the spaceships, the characters in different things.
Yeah, they probably just had no budget, though.
Well, it's straight to TV show. But just spice something from the movie. Like,
I was gonna say,
take some cut footage or something.
Even the footage that was like used that wasn't that weird stuff, I was like, this must have been cut from the movie.
Why did Jefferson Starship get a role in this movie?
I don't know.
What were they doing?
Was that the band?
They just did a performance.
Also,
at one point.
It wasn't even good.
No.
It was like they should have re-recorded that. He was off.
Dude, none of this was good.
Yeah.
Like, none of it.
But if you like record something for TV, you'd think that they'd put on a good... It wasn't live, was it?
I don't know.
So, you think that they would re-record it when it's bad. He was not hitting those notes, let me say.
Well, one thing I did note, and tell me if you thought this as well, was there isn't a lot of holiday spirit in this. Like, it's a holiday movie.
It's like how to cook a weird thing.
There's a moment...
There's like a cooking show for like a holiday dinner.
The Wookiee version of Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, it's like...
And there's a bit where the old dude,
or something.
Yeah, the old dude who's the family friend turns up and gives the kid a present.
Which is like a video game?
Which is like a video game? Or is that the thing how he communicates?
I forget. I think that's when they go into the animated short.
It was that nonsense. I kept skipping bits of it. Like, this was just complete shite. It was pretty funny, though. Like, I was watching it and I was like, I literally wrote a note that says, the search of the house lasts forever. What are they searching? They just stood around.
That's when I stopped watching. I was like, this is the worst use of my time. Because you're right. They were just like looking in bookshelves. I was like, I don't need to see the entire thing here, guys. Like,
well, there was some pretty cool stuff in there.
I actually laughed at the bartender scene.
I didn't really get it.
It was fucking weird, but I was like giggling.
I didn't really get it.
The bartender was funny. Whoever that was, that actress or actor. Was it a guy?
I couldn't tell if she was just been overlooked because she was a woman.
Don't know. The guy had a weird thing in his head. It was weird.
Oh yeah, that was very strange.
Poured his beer in his head, and that's how he drank.
Look, I actually quite enjoyed the animated section with Boba Fett.
I mean, because it was like the only thing that was like had a half a like. But like, was one question for that? It was like well done. It reminded me of like a cartoon, and I was like, okay. And it had the original voice actors, which was nice. Yeah. That was like the touch where I was like, okay, this is like a watch. But like, was that supposed to tie into the story, or was that just its own little story?
I think that was why. So I think the point was that
I'm sure they just had that. They're like, let's throw this in.
Well, I think the point was that Han and Chewbacca had flown down to the planet to avoid the scans of the Empire. But while they were down there, they got stuck in whatever the jelly shit was. And then Han had obviously succumbed to the sleeping gas of the Empire. Yeah. But the thing I quite liked about it was it showed Boba Fett being like badass. Actually good at being a bounty hunter. Yeah.
Well, not really, because like, what was the whole point of him even interacting with them? And it's just like at the end, he's like, "Oh, he's also from the Empire. Bye, guys. I'm out of here." It's like, well, why were you there? Why were you there? And like, why didn't you like catch someone or kill someone? Instead, you just helped them get out, and then just like, also, I'm your enemy. Later.
Yeah,
like, that was kind of dumb.
I did write down Boba Fett is a friend.
Yeah,
and then he's obviously not. Funny. You could tell that from the word go.
Luke was really gullible, bro. Our friend Boba Fett.
Yeah. A classic bounty hunter just found me, the last Jedi. Who would have guessed? Oh, God. Yeah, well, there is actually a really funny bit. If you rewatch that and just wait for it, because they do a bit where all of them walk past the door, and it looks like something out of a hideous Scooby-Doo film.
You mean at the end?
Funny. It's so good. The walking animation is
in the cartoon, yeah. No, it was very Scooby-Doo-esque. I mean, it was like similar time.
Do you think it was a prequel to The Mandalorian? They were testing the waters?
Yeah. I'm not even going to answer.
Well, anyway, the story carries on. There's a bunch of weird shit. The house gets searched again and again. The kid manages to rewire what is essentially a voice. It's a communicator.
See, this is spoilers for me now.
I don't care. You're never going to watch this.
Because I didn't see the end.
You're never going to watch it. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, carry on.
Dude, this is the whole point of the podcast. You're supposed to have watched this.
I couldn't finish this.
It's your own fault for not watching it.
I'm not even mad.
The kid essentially finds a way to create a voice translator and sends a message to the Empire who is searching the house to tell them to leave. They leave one Empire member behind. It's a stormtrooper who
naturally gets... Yeah.
Who Han Solo does this weird like American football like shimmy. So he runs at him. He does a shimmy and the guy runs over. You know how it keeps showing the outside of the Wookiee house and like a tree?
It looks quite nice.
It's the same animation. But it's also
animated. It's also like it's not real. It's like a drawing.
It's a painting. Yeah. And he does this weird little American football shimmy and he goes one way the stormtrooper goes the other way and he goes straight over the edge. And then he's down. And then they're like, oh my God, they're going to come and search for him. And then the old dude who brought the presents comes back and goes, oh, I can
dispose.
No. He comes in and he contacts the Empire and he goes, yeah, that dude just robbed me and ran away. Don't worry about him. And the Empire goes, okay. And that's it. That's the end of the story. Then Han leaves. There's really creepy bits where Han's giving like the son a hug and he picks him up at one point. It's weird.
I wonder if like the cast has ever commented on this. We should have brought this content to bear. Let me look.
Look, we put this together in like 5 minutes.
To be fair.
In terms of Christmas content, I thought it was funny for what it was. You know what I mean? Like, I laughed.
Shut up, dude. It was so bad.
It was so bad.
It's literally like the worst thing we've had to watch. Dude, it's...
Don't give me that. Yeah, you don't
it's
believe
up there.
that.
I think I do.
Don't give me that. Well, all right, here's a thing for you. I want your 3 good and 3 bad things about this movie.
The good.
Yeah, hit me with the good. I think we're going to agree on a lot of these things, to be honest.
The good is the animated short.
Yeah.
Because it's
the
like,
Boba Fett one. I enjoyed that.
This is like it was a coherent 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The rest of the thing
counter argument, Luke's super gullible. That's bad.
But like he was always kind of gullible and dumb in the beginning. Point being, it was like the only like part that was like had a set tone and like was you know, chronological. Like it just had a 10 minutes that made sense. Like in a row.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like confusing.
It had some direction to it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Both that was cool in it. And then I'll also say the other thing, like just seeing Carrie Fisher in more material, you know, it's good to see her.
She's great.
Yeah, but it wasn't like
literally
like intense
4
acting
seconds,
or anything. But I think that's
Carrie.
I think that's probably it.
Back when she was still Princess Leia, not General Leia.
Yeah, I can't get to 3.
There's not a lot else to go on in this movie, suppose. Like, I would have loved to have said Han Solo was good in it. He didn't do anything. He was in it for like 15 seconds. It was nice to see the Millennium Falcon. We saw it for the same amount of time that Han Solo was on the screen. Was there any other animated bits? It was like a band. It was the bar scene, or it was these 2 people that were completely irrelevant to the whole storyline in Tatooine. There was no relevance.
There was like the
they didn't even play the full. They didn't even play the full song.
That would have been nice.
Didn't even play the whole thing.
That would have been nice.
That's all I wanted.
Luke and R2, you know, like that was kind of.
I like the hijinks between those 2.
Yeah, it's always interesting. It did feel just so like he was like really trying. But like,
he was dead young at the time. Because
he was really trying, but there was like they gave him nothing. He's like, well, I don't know where he is then.
He had that bright eye.
That's bad. Like, oh my God, dude, this sucks.
He was a kid, bless him. Well, bad. I mean, we've talked about a lot here. There was a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was bad.
It was completely disjointed. There was no direction.
Wasn't there just like a random space salesman?
That's the guy.
That's the guy who gives him the game, which is actually the animated
he comes back later on and gets.
I just looked up and I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?"
Actually, you know what? My third good bit is when he does the American football shimmy and he goes flying off the edge of the thing. It's actually pretty funny.
To be fair, that does sound funny. Yeah. I'm actually sad.
It's so bad, it's unbelievable. It's like he goes to grab him or grab his gun that's on the floor and he just shimmies him and he goes flying. So, but bad for me, right? Those Wookiee outfits, bro.
They're bad. So I'm reading some analysis on this.
Yeah, go on.
Still. The special was a bad idea, badly executed, with scene after scene of Wookiees grunting dialogue to one another.
I mean, they're not wrong.
So true.
Well, I think we've covered off most of our key points that we say here. For a holiday special, it's not fun. It's not very holiday. It's crap. And I'm going to say it's worse than Aquaman 2018.
It is worse than Aquaman. And as George Lucas famously said, if I had the time and a sledgehammer, I would track down every bootleg copy of that program and smash it. Apparently, this is a quote.
That's completely fair, dude. Yeah. I think he's nailed it. I enjoyed doing it. We put this together like pretty quickly over the last couple of days.
Yeah, it was just like, can we watch something? And we did. I mean, to be fair, Tommy did. I didn't finish. I couldn't finish. And we were also like, there was the Star Wars Lego holiday special, which was on Disney Plus because we looked to see if it was there, and it wasn't. And we found that, and I was like, that one actually might be good because the Lego things are kind of funny. I was like, we have to torture ourselves for.
Do you know anything about the story of it? Have you?
I
think it's got like Ray and stuff in it, so probably won't.
Whoa, you're right. Ray leaves her friends to prepare for Life Day, so it's literally just same thing but a different adventure.
Great. Hoping
that it's better.
I mean,
has to be better.
Until next year.
Yeah, it has to be better.
Next Christmas.
Next year.
52 episodes more, and we'll do that.
You know what? Spoilers, 6.5 out of 10 as opposed to 2.1.
Damn.
So add to watch list. IMDb.
Look, I enjoy I enjoy the Lego stuff.
Yeah.
I think they do some pretty funny.
I was going to say, obviously it's going to be more well done if it was the Lego thing, because those are pretty goofy and hilarious. They even have the games these days.
The games are great, dude. I'm kind of low key like a big Harry Potter nerd. I love it. And those games, the Lego Harry Potter games, are infinitely better than those movies. I would rather play those games than watch those movies. Did you play
the games that were released when the movies came out?
No.
On the PlayStation?
No.
They were all right.
There is a really funny like meme, though, of PS1 Hagrid, where he's just a flat piece of cat.
To be fair, I don't think I played the PS1 era once. I think it was like
well,
PS2.
That's how far back they came out, I think.
Dude, I mean, Hogwarts, there was probably multiple. There was one for each movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Hogwarts, there's a game coming out that's Hogwarts.
Yeah, I'm super excited
What is it again?
I'm so excited. It's based like a couple hundred years before the Harry Potter series.
And you basically make your own character.
And you're your own character and you make your own destiny.
That would be cool.
Look, that's something that's been rumored for ages. It was only confirmed earlier this year. And it looks incredible.
Yeah, it does look cool.
Like I say, like to me, the movies let the books down a lot. Like, I mean, obviously is too much to put into movies, but I think they missed a lot of key points. They missed a lot of key points. Yeah, they could have made them way better. But anyway, we're getting way off topic. Thank you very much for being involved in the Christmas special. There is a little bit of correspondence for you this week.
What is it? Let's hear it.
Well, our current friend of the show, Steve, who we've renamed as researcher of the show, Steve.
Researcher of the show.
Researcher of the show,
That's
Steve.
That's a promotion.
He's going
friend of researcher.
He's going to be taking our position soon. He knows more than me. He knows more than you. He knows probably more than me.
Definitely knows more than me. He's not saying much.
He did actually let us know this week. There's a couple of things couple of news bits that he wanted us to ask us about. Firstly, did you know that Henry Cavill has been injured on the set of The Witcher 2 and they've temporarily suspended filming?
Did he pull his glute?
I did ask whether people around the set decided he was too handsome, so beat him up.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
Because he's a beautiful man.
Chiseled jawline.
Yeah. Well, the other one is...
anything about like what the injury is?
No, nothing. Just that they've temporarily suspended filming.
But he said that it was because of Corona on his Insta. This
is a new one. This is in the last week.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I love The Witcher now. I want to see the second season. Just
from playing the game.
Just from playing the game. Well, now I just feel like I understand a lot more. So.
Well, the other piece of news is that Star-Lord has apparently been has come out as bisexual. I don't know. The news is that the character Star-Lord is bisexual, which is, I mean, that fits that character.
You mean Old Mate's character, Guardian of the Galaxy?
The character
of Star-Lord, yeah.
Not Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. And also, like, very Christian, I believe, as well.
Yes, I believe that too. But, I mean, that fits that character, and I think that's cool. Why not?
Sure. Yeah, he would be. I mean, he doesn't care what kind of alien race he's getting with either, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
He's flexible.
Yeah, fair play.
He's flexible.
Well, we also did get one piece of correspondence, which is we have a new listener, and it's my brother's new boy.
Oh.
Which I mentioned last week that obviously I'm an uncle now, but he sent through a really cute selfie of them listening to the podcast together. So
I'm sure he's just digging it.
He's
putting him right to sleep.
He's getting him in nice and early. That's what we want.
Yeah,
well,
there you go.
Thank you very much, guys. We very much appreciate it. Dre's going to let you know
the email address.
That's it. That's a word.
Podcastassemble@gmail.com.
The podcastassemble@gmail.com.
Podcastassemble@gmail.com.
Or find us on Twitter.
Run back
either way.
the tape.
Look, if you know anyone who enjoys this type of stuff and wants to listen to it too, please recommend the show. That'd be really lovely.
Shameless self-promotion.
That's the Christmas present right there.
Yeah.
Well, happy Christmas, Drey.
Yep. Merry Christmas, Tommy. Thank you. Yeah, until next time, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Merry Christmas.